Hello guys, welcome back to our podcast. This is Tada Kenya podcast, and today we're discussing about breastfeeding, keeping in mind that we are celebrating World Breastfeeding Week from 1st to 7th August, which is celebrated annually. But before we get into the discussion, I'll let these beautiful ladies introduce themselves, starting from the far end.
Hi everyone, I'm Edna Taylor, first time mother.
Good afternoon, I'm Winnie Orlando. I'm a nutritionist. I coordinate nutrition services in Kisumu East Sub-County.
So before we get into the discussion, kindly explain to us what breastfeeding is and why is it important to mothers and infants.
So breastfeeding, one way, we don't like to talk about it as breastfeeding only. We call it exclusive breastfeeding.
Exclusive breastfeeding.
That means that a baby should be breastfed for the first 6 months without giving them any other foods or fluids. And they can only be given medication when prescribed by a health worker. Not any medication. You cannot go into a pharmacy and buy any medication for the child. So it is breast milk only for the first 6 months, and we call it exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. Yes.
Yeah.
But there is continued breastfeeding up to 2 years and above.
2 years and above.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, 2 years and above.
Yes.
2 years and above.
Yeah, so we don't stop breastfeeding at 6 months. We just introduce other foods and continue to breastfeed up to 2 years and beyond. Yes.
So what are some of the most common challenges that new mothers and infants face during the first 6 months?
Basically, a mother might find latching or putting the baby on the breast as a challenge. Because when a mom starts to breastfeed, the baby needs to learn how to breastfeed, and the mother needs also to be supported. So latching at times becomes a challenge. Most probably you find mothers put the babies on the breast and the babies only latch at, there's something we call a nipple and the areola in the breast. So if you look at this, this sharp thing is called the nipple. And then there is the areola. So when we we always use this as a dummy, so we fill it with water. So when we put it like this, the baby should latch onto this entire black part, not only the nipple. When they latch on the nipple, milk production reduces. And then the mothers will start complaining that they don't have enough milk. And also there are issues of colic. Colic pain is common in all children. But mothers would think probably breastfeeding brings colic and does not sort it out. But when a child is breastfed for 6 months, that helps reduce colic pain most of the time. So the only challenge that the mothers have is not having enough milk, but that is because majorly of poor attachment and latching. And some mothers, when they have stress, milk production goes down. But it does not relate with food. Yes, so milk production and food are totally two different things. So someone cannot say that I'm not eating enough, that's why I don't have enough milk. Milk production is psychological and it is hormonal.
Yes. Just to ask you on the milk production, there is this myth that people say when you have like big breast, you will have like it's a myth. I'm not saying it's true, but it's a myth.
Yes.
So they say the volume of the milk may differ according to the size of the breast. Is it true? And yeah.
Basically, a normal, healthy mother can produce 2 liters of milk
Baby.
in a day. So what happens is when you have big breasts or smaller breasts, you produce sufficient milk for the baby. It is not, the standard is 2 liters, but it can be more. Reason being, milk production is hormonal. We have 2 hormones that assist in milk production. We have the prolactin. Prolactin basically works in production, and production is in the brain actually. And then we have oxytocin, which now helps the milk to come down, the let down. So when the baby breastfeeds, it sends the message to the brain, the amount of milk that should be produced per feed. So babies get enough milk, regardless of the sizes of your breasts. It doesn't matter. So they get enough milk depending on how you breastfeed the child. We say breastfeeding is on demand. When you want as a mother, and when the baby wants. That's why sometimes you're being told as a first-time mom that if the baby is sleeping for longer hours, wake them up after every 2 hours to breastfeed. Because at that time, your breast will be full. And if they are full, milk production will not happen until the breast is emptied. Yes.
And maybe we hear some of the challenges from our first-time mom.
Yes.
Okay, the challenges that I faced is that I was not able to latch my baby well since I didn't know how to latch properly. But thankfully, with support from a lactation consultant, I was now able to do that. Then also there was that problem of soreness in my nipple. The nipple was now cracking. Yeah.
Was it painful? How?
It was painful, and there were cracks. Yeah, all over, both sides. Yeah.
Maybe you explain from a nutrition's angle. What caused it, and if at all she required treatment, just like tell us from that angle.
So basically, we do what you call early initiation to breastfeeding when a mothers give birth in a hospital setup. So what we do, we try to see if the kids have some two reflexes before we discharge the mothers from hospital. So when a baby is born, we don't wipe the palms because the smell, the amniotic fluid smell is the same smell as the breast. So after removing the baby, we put the baby on your tummy and we let the baby crawl by him or herself to look for the breast. That is called rooting reflex.
But it's a newborn.
It's a newborn. It happens. We have videos.
So they have to crawl.
Yes, we just put them here, and then they will move up a little bit to identify the breast. After that, now we know this baby has a rooting reflex. They are good to go. Then now we put them on the breast and help them to attach the areola inside their mouth. So when they start suckling, we know that they have now the suckling reflex. So when a mom is discharged from hospital, we tell them that when they are breastfeeding, they have to latch the baby, and the baby should touch the black part called the areola, not the nipple.
Yeah.
So when our baby latches on the nipple, their gums, they keep on biting the gums. That is what causes the crack. So as they keep on biting and they're struggling, because when now they're latching at the nipple, they are struggling to pull the milk, and the milk is not coming as it should come. When they latch here, this place has what we call the milk ducts, the veins. So it's like a balloon. When they latch in this place, it's like they're pulling the milk and it splashes in their mouth. So when you want to know if your baby is breastfeeding well, when they pull it, the cheeks will swell, and then it will go inside when now they're swallowing. So when they latch and they only touch and hold on to the nipple, they keep on biting the nipple. And the nipples are really sensitive. So the mothers have cracks. It's not something that they cannot bite the nipple and you have a crack in one day. It's something that happens maybe for a week, and then now the crack is there. If the crack is not infected, then we just tell the mothers to, the first 2 weeks is always very painful because the baby is trying to latch, and the more they're biting you, it's painful. But I think after 1 week, it becomes better. So at times we tell, if it's not infected, we just tell the mothers to just take the breast milk, apply it around, it will just clear within a few days. But now the breasts might become so because of a lot of milk production. It's called engorgement. The milk production becomes too much, and the baby is breastfeeding in smaller portions. So you feel a lot of soreness. But we tell mothers, just take a hot shower and let the milk flow, so that you can feel relieved. Or
like
take
how do you let the milk flow?
When you take a hot shower, your nipple, the milk will just flow out of your nipple for you to be relieved. Or what you can do, you can take a warm cloth, a white, not even a white, just a thick cloth, put on warm water and just press. So the milk that you're expressing, you can put it in a cup, or you can just let it flow away. It's okay, because another production will be done. So that one is done to relieve the mothers when they have soreness, because the baby is taking probably little portions of milk and milk production is high. And that also happens, for example, when you let your baby sleep for longer times. Your breasts are full, but you don't want to wake the baby. But you're telling mothers after 2 hours. Yes.
You don't want to distract them. They're having a peaceful time.
You see, they can sleep and they're hungry.
Oh.
Yes, actually, small infants, a month old, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they don't really, pick up cues very fast. So we tell mothers after every 2 hours just wake the baby up if they're not awake, breastfeed them, let them burp, and let them sleep again. Yes.
I have a question. Apart from the breast milk that we apply on the crack, is there any medication or is there any cream that we can apply there?
If the breast is infected, then you'll be required to take antibiotics and stop using that breast for some time until it heals. So you use the other breast. But because you're not using it, it will be full. So you'll just be expected to express the milk so that you can be relieved. Yes.
And back to you, what is the importance of exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months?
The importance one is bonding between the mother and the child. 2, breast milk helps to prevent diseases. It strengthens the immune system for kids and helps them prevent diseases, especially these respiratory diseases, issues of diarrhea, because it is safe. So you're not using any other thing, so the child cannot get diarrhea. It also acts as a form of family planning for the mothers, but only when they follow certain instructions. It's not for every mother. Only when the baby is below 6 months and when their periods have not resumed, they can use it as a mode of family planning. But if their periods have resumed, they should not use it as a mode of family planning. And it's also cheap, it's also affordable. The mothers don't, and then it's available. They don't need to use money to get breast milk. Yes. And then it's also help build children's IQ. Yes.
You've talked about bonding. So we need to understand the aspect of bonding. How is it?
So we always educate mothers that when they're breastfeeding, you look at your baby's face, because the most beautiful thing in a baby's life, the first time when they are born, is the mother's face. So when you're breastfeeding and you're looking at the baby, and probably they stretch their hands and they want to touch your cheeks, touch it back. It's a form of communication between you and the child. When they're breastfeeding and they're smiling, smile back. Don't just be rigid and stressed.
You're like,
yes. When they try to touch you, to do this to you, touch them back. So it's a way of communicating to them, and it creates a bond, because one, that baby was in your stomach initially. So there was a bond before, and then when they are born, you're the only source of food they have for the first 6 months. So that creates a bond between the baby and the mother.
So when we talk about postpartum depression for the new moms, how does it affect exclusive breastfeeding?
Mostly you find that these mothers don't want the kids. So giving them babies to breastfeed becomes a challenge. That is why we always say new mothers should be supported. And breastfeeding support is not only for probably people who are in hospital, but also the spouses and the people they're staying around with. If you identify that the new mom has issues of has postpartum depression, one day you need to take them for medical assistance immediately, and then even at home you need to support them. So it is your role as either lactation support partner to always give her the baby to breastfeed. And if she cannot do that, you help them to express. They can use a breast pump, or they can use their hands to express, and the baby can be fed. And we can also express breast milk and store for as long as we want, depending on which storage you are using.
So if we estimate, how long can it stay?
If you're using a deep freezer, we can do 6 months to 1 year.
6 months to 1 year?
Yes.
Without any preservatives? Or?
Just a deep freezer. If you're using a normal refrigerator, we do 24 hours. But if it is just room temperature, you don't have a fridge, you can just store it for 8 hours.
8 hours.
So you'll find that there are people who have deep freezers, so they buy the small tins that are bought in the shops. So what you can do, you express, you write the time you expressed and the date. So you keep them like that. So there are people who, when they go back to work, they already have a bank, a milk bank in the house. But you only need to retrieve them depending on dates. We will say first in, first out. And then there's a way you warm it, and then you give the baby.
To our first time mom, has it, how should I put it? So was exclusive breastfeeding beneficial to you in any way? And if at all, it was beneficial, in what ways?
Yeah, it was beneficial.
How?
It strengthened the bond between me and my baby. And my baby was now able, before she reaches 3 months age, I'm now able to see there is improvement in baby's growth, and that one reassured me that I was on the right path. Yeah.
And do we have long-term benefits of exclusive breastfeeding?
Yes, we have long-term benefits. One, it enhances proper brain development. And you see babies' brains develop rapidly the first 3 years. The first 3 years, the brain will develop at 80%. But now the rest of the years, up to 8 years, we only have this 20%. So if you don't do much in the first 3 years, and the brain does not develop in a proper manner, then you will have problems later.
What problems?
One, there will be children who they are called slow learners in good terms, but they're just stupid. Yes, yeah. We call them slow learners, but you see that is the fault. That is our fault as parents. If your child is a slow learner, it is you as a parent to blame.
So we can trace someone being a slow learner from the time of birth. Like we can trace
from
it,
even consumption,
birth, and all that. Conception, birth, and exclusive breastfeeding.
Yes. So it helps babies have an IQ, and you'll find that these babies, you'll find that a child who has been exclusively breastfed and the one who has not, this other one will not go to hospital often. Hospital visits will be very low compared to this other one. And then two, the immune system for both of them, one will be a bit stronger, one will not be strong. So hospital visits will go high. And then this other child will be a bit, we call them chap kids. They catch concepts very fast as compared to this one who has not been exclusively breastfed. Yes.
Mwalimu anafunza.
Na husky.
Hey.
And then you have school too.
But we have these instances, God forbid, maybe a mom, a newborn is, like the mom dies during childbirth. So how do we handle that? Because they are not going to get the first milk, the mother's milk and all that.
Yes.
So how?
That is always a tricky situation. We've been piloting having a milk bank. We have a milk bank in Pumwani. So if you have excess milk and you want to donate, you can go through the test and then donate. But it is only for children who have been born in Pumwani and their mothers have died, not outside. So it was just a pilot. The way people have sperm banks, now there's a breast milk bank. So after being tested, going through all those tests, then you can be allowed to donate for those children. Because one, infant formula is very expensive. One tin goes for 2,000 shillings and beyond. So if you want to put this family to buy infant formula, and that is the only alternative if the mother dies, and buying infant formula for first 6 months is very expensive. So at times we just find a way of sitting down with the family and negotiating on the best way to support the child, because we don't advocate for wet nursing. Wet nursing is whereby if the mother dies, I can take up the child and breastfeed. You know, if I start breastfeeding that child, milk will just come at some point, yes. It was being done way back before the HIV.
So if I'm given, so I'm not given back, but if I'm given a newborn and I start breastfeeding them, the milk will just come automatically.
Because it is hormonal. The more the baby suckles, the more it will send a message to your brain that there is a small baby that needs milk. Then production will happen. It used to happen with our shows, but because of HIV and these other diseases, it was stopped. So now we don't encourage that at all. So we always, at times when we go to those families, we tell them, you are budgeting for cows, for the matanga. I want us, when you're budgeting for a cow, can you budget for infant formula? Because they'll budget for things and make the funeral very expensive, but they don't really care what this small baby will be feeding on. That happens a lot. And this small baby is given to either the grandmother or someone else to be taken care of. So we find a way of negotiating on how we can support this child.
I'm still shocked. Should I say shocked? Sijui niseme aje. So like if I'm given a newborn and I start giving them my like they wanyonye.
Yes, yes, yes.
So like after 1 week or after some few days, I'll have milk.
Yes, you have milk. And if they continue breastfeeding, the production will continue. So that is how milk production happens. The more they breastfeed, the more production happens. When they stop,
I wanted to ask something, but I'll ask off camera. Okay. As we celebrate breastfeeding week from 1st to 7th of this month, do you think when it comes to awareness in terms of exclusive breastfeeding, do you think the community around us or maybe the national government or the county government are putting in some efforts to ensure that the right information is disbursed to the right people at the right time?
Yes, the county government, the national government, and all of us are trying as much as possible to get this information out there. The only challenge is people have myths, and they don't want those myths to be misspelled. They don't want to ask questions because we can only do so much to give information. But there's this support that probably maybe some mothers need it one-on-one. If they don't reach out, it's difficult to help them. But we are having policies on breastfeeding. We are having policies, it's called Maternal, Infant and Young Child Nutrition Policy on Breastfeeding of 2019. We are having counseling cards like these ones that we give our community health promoters, and all of them have them in Kisumu County. So when they go to the households, it is easy for them to support these mothers. We are having mother-to-mother support groups. We bring mothers together who are breastfeeding so that they can share their challenges and see how they can support each other. We are also having policies on issues of workplace support. Mothers who are going to work, how can we support them to breastfeed for 6 months? Mothers who are doing businesses, for example, in Kibuye. We have a breastfeeding room at Kibuye Market so that when the mothers go to do business, they can carry their children and breastfeed at that place. So we are trying as much as possible to also open breastfeeding rooms in other places. We have breastfeeding rooms in hospitals, so that when they come for clinic and they feel they cannot breastfeed in the queue, there's a space for them to breastfeed. I know KRA in Kisumu has a breastfeeding space. The First Lady's place has a breastfeeding space. And now we want to open another one at the governor's place and at Huduma Center. Yeah.
So to our first time mom, she has talked of the efforts that have been put through by the government.
Yes.
So according to you, do you feel at the time that you were giving birth, did you feel that you had enough information in terms of how you feed your baby and all that, according to you?
Okay, during that time, I feel like I had some information but not full information. And now we see that when I gave birth, I was still in school, so it forced me to defer. And now I talked to one of my cousins to now bring the baby to me in school so that I breastfeed the baby is when he goes back. But the problem there was that there was not specific room for breastfeeding. You see? So that was a big challenge to me. It forced me to go outside the school compound to look for a certain what can I say?
Space.
A certain space which is suitable for breastfeeding is when I breastfeed my baby.
So when we talk of we've talked of the benefits of breastfeeding, do we have any other diseases that they may attack these new mothers or other mothers that is in affect maternity?
Yeah, we have breast conditions that
Apart from cancer.
Apart from cancer, we have breast conditions. For example, if milk production is too much, the mothers might have something called engorged breasts. I think I can just show a few pictures. Yes, so we have several breast conditions. We have when the breast is full, the mother might feel a bit of discomfort. And now, when it is full and it is not emptied, it becomes engorged. This one can even cause fever and headache, and it is very painful. So the breast must be emptied for the mother to be relieved. Then you have inverted nipples. So we encourage mothers that when they are pregnant and they go for antenatal clinic, their breast should be examined. Because for inverted nipples, you have to pull it for some time with the syringe for the nipple to come out so that latching can be done. And then we have candidiasis. This is an infection. So for this, mothers are told to stop breastfeeding using that breast. They are given antibiotics, and then when it clears, then they can continue breastfeeding with that breast. Then you have cracked nipples, and then you have the flat nipples, and then you have mastitis. So these ones are the ones which might probably the mother is probably HIV exposed. They must HIV positive. They might expose kids to the virus. So we tell the mother stop breastfeeding, receive treatment, and then when it's clear, then they can continue breastfeeding. So these are some of the breast conditions that mothers might get.
You've talked. You've talked of mothers who are HIV positive.
Yes.
So can you tell us what are some of the measures that they should put through to ensure that they don't give their newborns the infection?
So basically, mothers who are HIV positive can as well practice exclusive breastfeeding and even continue up to 2 years. The only thing they should do is, one, ensure they give birth in a health facility so that the baby is given the prophylaxis at birth. Because when they're pregnant, they're supposed to be taking their ARVs and their adherence should be 100% so that they cannot infect the baby during pregnancy. Then at birth, they should give birth in a health facility so that the baby can be given the prophylaxis, nevirapine and Septrin at that point, at birth. Then, when now the baby goes home, the mother should continue on their ARVs and the baby is given the prophylaxis. So during the time the baby is breastfeeding, the baby is also on the prophylaxis to prevent them. Then there are a few tests done at 6 months, then there's 9 months, then there's 1 year, 6 months. 1 year, 6 months is the last test. So when the baby is negative at 1 year, 6 months, then the baby continues also to be given the prophylaxis still, and the mother breastfeeds up to 2 years. Then if the baby is 2 years and they stop now we tell them to stop breastfeeding at 2 years, but continue with the drugs for like 1 month and then just stop. But they can exclusively breastfeed as long as the mother is adhering to ARVs and the baby is on the prophylaxis.
So after 6 months, is the kid allowed to maybe have solid food, unlike the 6 months which a baby is not supposed to have solid food?
So at 6 months, all babies are allowed to have semi-solid foods.
Semi-solid.
We call it complementary feeding. Complementary feeding is whereby we continue with breastfeeding, but we complement it with other foods. Kitambo, they used to call it weaning. Weaning means you stop breastfeeding, you start food. But we call it complementary feeding because we are complementing other foods to breast milk. So breast milk continues. Yes.
So why is it not advised to feed our kids the semi-solid food for maybe like the first 6 months? Sorry.
Because one, breast milk has everything a baby needs, all nutrients. Two,
but kuna mama mtoto ashibi analia ashibi patia mtoto uji.
There is no baby who does not get full with breast milk, because if you latch the baby well and the baby breastfeeds until they leave the breast alone, be sure that baby is full. But if the baby touches on the nipple, maziwa inatoka kidogo. So they keep on struggling to pull and milk, the portions that are coming is very little. They get frustrated. Those are babies that keep on crying. For 10 minutes they're hungry, 10 minutes they're hungry. But if a baby is positioned and attached well to a breast, the baby will breastfeed for 6 months without anything. Me, my daughter is 11 years old, and I did EBF when she was born. I used to express while going to work when she was 4 months old, up to 6 months. So all I can say is breastfeeding for 6 months is very possible. It's very possible. The mothers just need support and encouragement, and so and to just ensure that they don't have stress, because once a mother has stress, production will automatically reduce. Yes. fully matured that can handle the semi-solid food for the first 6 months. That's why we don't give them anything apart from breast milk, because breast milk is easily digested. You cannot compare it with any other milk. It has a correct amount of fats, but when you give cow's milk, has a lot of fat, and digesting it becomes very difficult. Yes.
We need to go with you to those village Ukunda Nindani.
Yes.
Because I really feel the myths and misconceptions around breastfeeding is taking over. Because most of them, as much as we have a lot of published informations online and everywhere, I don't think that they're having the right information.
Yes. So basically what we do, mostly if mothers come and tell me I don't have enough milk, the first thing, I will not even discourage or anything, but we'll put the baby on the breast. Just to see how is the baby latching on the breast. Is that the issue? There are mothers also, maybe they are so stressed, however much they put the baby on the breast the correct way, the production is still not enough. So we have some supplements that boost milk production. I think the cheapest one tablet is 50 shillings. And if they even take it for 3 days, they will have milk, they will even have to stop taking those medication. So we also have those ones. I think the only challenge is our mothers don't seek out for information. They don't ask, they don't seek for help. Sometimes it's difficult probably to, because like in the sub-county, we are only around 6 nutritionists. We have over 20-something facilities. So at times you cannot reach everybody, but you only reach the ones you can reach.
So as we conclude, maybe you paint a picture of the world you want to see to our first-time mom and to our nutritionist, the world you want to see in the next 3 years or 5 years when it comes to breastfeeding.
Wow, the world I would love to see is where all mothers are supported to breastfeed exclusively. Where information is out there and mothers are empowered to be able to know that this is possible. They should not doubt themselves. Where men, when they have paternity leave for 2 weeks, they should not go out and have drinks with their boys. They should support these mothers to breastfeed, rub their backs, ensure they bring food, ensure they don't stress these women so that these mothers are able to breastfeed. Where male involvement is key in issues of breastfeeding, because this baby is for both of us. I want to see a world where mother-in-laws don't coerce these young mothers to give other foods, saying that even your husband, who is my son, I gave him porridge. You see, he's old enough and he has married you. No. Because one, in this era, we're having so many diseases and we're having so many complications. We cannot compare what happened 20 years ago to right now. So I think that is what I want to see. And we are here to support our mothers. Yes.
And our cameraman behind the scene is laughing. I hope you got this. Support your wives.
When you have a baby, I will come and support you people to breastfeed well.
And to our first-time mom.
Okay, the one that I would like to see is a world where, in case each and every breastfeeding mother have a problem, they should seek help. They should not just stay but seek professional help, either from a lactation consultant, nurse,
And to me, a future mom. I would like to see a world where we get the right information.
Yes.
Because information is all over. It's all over the internet, published books and all that. But I would really want to see a future where we get the right information and at the right time.
Yes.
And that is all from us. And if you have more questions concerning breastfeeding, kindly feel free, comment down below and we'll be able to get in touch. And don't forget to share, follow and subscribe. That is all from us at Stada Kenya Podcast. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.